see how it goes. We'll finish it before 20 minutes. So anyways, thank you, Krishna. And hello, everybody. I know there's not much time to dinner. I think there's a session after mine, so please have a bit of patience with me. I try to make it fun. My background is science. I'm a scientist. I work on infectious diseases. My background is biotechnology. But the work I do is not basic science, more from public health perspective. So I'll plan my talk around what I do and how I got there and what we're doing in Nepal. In, like Krishna said, very resource limited settings, which is much lower than India. I'll tell you why. So in fact, one of the most difficult countries to work in would be Nepal because of the funding resources, the limitations. So I'll start in that direction. So I'm SNIoE. I hope I'm not blocking anyone's view. So the institution I represent is called Center for Molecular Dynamics Nepal. Don't ask me about how the name started. It's a bit confusing, but bottom line is we are an NGO with a privately owned lab as a partner, both of which our one team manages. So I'm representing CMDA, the Center for Molecular Dynamics Nepal. So in short, I call it CMDA from here on. So CMDA was started in 2007. I think YIM was started around that time also. So YIM, the timing of YIM and CMDA is very similar. So yeah, we started 2007, and since then I'm here today. But I have to mention Karishma. I know she introduced me as how she found me in YouTube, right? And I feel proud. To be the international mentor at YIM means I've done something good. I'm in the radar of the scientific community. If YIM identifies me, I think I've kind of almost made it. So the Nobel Prize is next, I think. So I'm on my way there. Thank you very much. So it's a good feeling. So again, it's great to be in this amazing gathering of young researchers, investigators, and expert scientists. And thank you once again at the very outset for inviting me. So that's my education. So education to profession is the title that I was given, so I kind of stayed with the title. So my background is biotechnology. I did PhD from Wollo University and Western Sydney University. My master, I have a double master's in biotechnology and recombinant DNA technology from Wollo, and then my PhD was at Western Sydney University. I work in the area of probiotics, and then my team. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing for the last at least 15 years. I've used my knowledge of life sciences for public health. Because in Nepal, public health research was a major, I would say disaster, but it was a lot of things needed to be done. So I felt 17 years ago, this is where I need to be. Having left Australia, having left the USA. So my bachelor is from USA. So I left the USA, I left Australia to come back to Nepal to do something concrete. As a South Asian, I felt that there's a lot that can be done in my country than overseas. Overseas there are lots of scientists, a lot of resources. The challenge was to do the same thing where the resources were a challenge, where the human resources and financial resources and the motivation was limited. So hopefully I've done that over the last 17 years. Now that I'm here at YIM, I think I'm kind of getting there. So yeah, so I was at Govt University in 2000 for about 5 years. Govt University is a very new university. It's one of the better ones in Nepal. So I joined the university, and in fact I helped develop a startup, Department of Biotechnology at the university. I loved it. I liked teaching, but I felt, for my personality, I felt the academic life was too constricted. I could not do the things I wanted to do. I had certain plans in Australia as to what I would do when I came back to Nepal, because the plan was always there from day one. But the university, I felt was going to be that road for me, but it turned out it was way too constricted for me. Too many bureaucratic hurdles. I'm sure some of you know. Too many red tapes. So I didn't want to be bogged down and be told what to do, what not to do. So that's why we felt the time to change. At least go on a different path. Before I go there, I have to show you this slide. I have to tell you that when I said Nepal is resource strapped, resources are limited, human resources are limited, but there was a major political issues in Nepal around the time I decided to come back to Nepal. Now the royal massacre, you must have heard that we used to be a kingdom. And the king and the queen and the entire family was wiped out. This is in 2001. Now in 2001, I just started my PhD in Australia. And I had my mind about coming back to Nepal, but news like this made me think, oh my God, now what's going to happen there? It's a major political crisis. When you have a kingdom with a king and the entire family massacred, is it even worth going back now? I was having a pretty good life in Australia. I was doing PhD, I was getting scholarship and all that, and I had a pretty good chance of getting a good job. And that didn't help. Before that, from 1996 onwards, the title, 1996 to 2006, we had a Maoist insurgency. So the Maoist, now they're a big political party, third biggest in Nepal, but at that time there's a war, guerrilla warfare, a civil war going on, gun war basically. And Nepal's political situation was really bad. Now this is until 2006. Now this is 2006 for me, it was important because I came back to Nepal from Australia in 2004 and permanently in 2005. And the peace deal was signed in 2006 between the government and the Maoists. So when I came back, in a lot of uncertainty, after the kingdom is gone, Maoist war is going on, I was in a situation like, am I making the right decision? I'd already come back in 2004 or 5. So there's always this big thing about that. And I'm doing science. Remember this, I'm doing science. I'm not doing any field. Science, and that too, laboratory intensive science. Biotechnology laboratory intensive. So it's a very big choice that I had to make. And I also know that I was already married by then. And my first daughter, my eldest daughter, was about to be born. So it's a big, very big decision I had to take, but then I took it. And then, it might sound very funny to you. If there were Nepalis here, they would laugh at it. This is power cut schedule. Nepal had a major power crisis, electricity. In the West, you don't even think about it, dream of it. This is 2017. Up to until 2017, we were getting power cuts of up to 14 hours a day. Now, how will you run a lab? We started the lab in 2007, 2008. In 2017, that's like 9 years after we started the lab. And I'll tell you why it's even more difficult in a while. We're getting power cuts up to 14 hours a day. That doesn't mean at night, any time of the day. And this is scheduled. Group 1 to, if you say group 1 to 7, that means, this is just for Kathmandu. Different parts of Nepal have different schedule. So, where you live, you're put in one of the groups. And so from Sunday to Saturday, different groups, this power cut time, 0500 to 1200, to 2 p.m. So from morning 5 to 2 p.m. for Sunday, group 1 for example. Then again the electricity came back for 4 hours. Then from 6 to 10 o'clock, the lights went off again. You see what I'm saying? So this was the kind of situation we're dealing with at that time. When the lab we had the lab going, we had the research going, not just any research, funded research. And I'll come to that very soon. So I'm giving you a backdrop of what kind of situation Nepal was in and scientific community was in and the people who were doing the work were in at that time. And this, I'm not making it up, this is fact. Now, in the other backdrop, the reason I came back to Nepal was I saw all of this. You don't have to read all of this. What I'm trying to say in this slide is, a pretty busy slide, is health research, there are a lot of possibilities. We need very little about a lot of the diseases, even TB, tuberculosis. Even to this day is known as the hidden disease in Nepal and many developing countries, including India. The cases which don't go reporting because people are scared, there's stigma. HIV, hepatitis C, B, even cholera, diarrheal diseases, major problem. But we know very little about it. We think we know, but it's not true. But the data that comes to government is very limited data and the reporting is really bad. And the viral and the bacterial genomics, we know very little about it. And that is where we need to understand. What kind of bacterial strains are in the country? What are the viruses that are affecting, are causing major diseases? We have so many unknown flu floating around at any given time. What's causing that? So these are the kind of questions we had in mind. At least I had in mind. So government planning and health intervention and all that evidence was very limited. And my colleagues and I felt this needs to be really looked into. That's why I came back from Australia and America. So 4 of us. And my 5th friend, he lives in Canada. So he's still in Canada. So we got together and we felt we needed to start an organization that's far from bureaucracy, red tape, government mechanism. It needs to be independent. And the only way to do it is either private or non-governmental. Now, when you say private, usually because government doesn't give money to any organization in Nepal. We're not a hospital. We're not going to be a hospital. We're not going to be a diagnostic center. We're not going to be a university with students coming in. But the source of money we wanted, we had to apply elsewhere internationally. And having a private sector apply at that time was a bit challenging because the private sector getting funded money, international funding was low. The chances of that. But NGO, on the other hand, development sector couldn't get money. So we decided to start the NGO. So we started CMD at that time. So the four of us, we started the organization in 2007. And so what we did was, when we established it, the whole point was to do research, health research. And I already showed you what kind of situation we started the organization, and what we were facing even after we started the organization. So basically, we want to do the molecular lab research, so the genomics. Mostly genomics is what we're focusing on. And field surveys. Sometimes you go to the field and find out, for example, you go to household surveys, like working for WHO, UNICEF. You're going to feel and say, oh, have you had any experience of this kind of disease? Have you had certain symptoms? Have you had how many people of what age group live in your house? That sort of demographic surveys and all that. We do that also to sustain ourselves. Then the training, student internship, policy discourses with government and stakeholders. We work with WHO, UNICEF, international organizations. So around CNN, we started doing all this work and we continue to do this. And the reason there's so many areas is because we need to sustain ourselves, we need money. We are not funded by government. UGC, we have a UGC like in India. UGC doesn't fund NGOs or private sector. We do have students coming in paying monthly fees. We are not student-led. We're not a proper diagnostic lab either. We don't do diagnostics for commercial purposes most of the time. So what we have in mind is bilateral donors, funding agencies, Wellcome Trust, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, universities in the USA, Australia. That's how we developed ourselves around that kind of funding. So, as I just said, in Nepal it's very difficult. Even now, thankfully, since 2007, there has been some changes in the research fraternity. So the academic institutions are more open. And I think CNN has a lot to do with it. And there's a lot of other NGOs that have come about who are following our style of work. The way we moved around, the way we applied for international grants, all that, they also learn. So now we have NGOs with a lab, NGOs without a lab. They're doing a lot of relative research work. So I think we have to help them to carve out an area in which to work in Nepal, rather than everyone leaving the country and thinking, well, what am I going to do next? I think some change has happened. But one thing I want to point out, because you are here, it's not so true for India, I think, anymore. Maybe not for China either. Maybe even not so much for Bangladesh anymore, because Bangladesh was doing some really good research in public health and lab-based work, like ICBDR Bangladesh. Right? Our Nepal-based research always faces skepticism. Nepalese and science? What? I think Nepal was famous for Mount Everest, Buddha, Pasutina, Chitwan, Bengal tigers, trekking. But science and research, that took genomics and high-tech research. How can that be? So even when we publish a paper, when we have published many, I'll show you later, we always have a major hassle trying to get students, reviewers, and getting it approved. Still there is a bit of skepticism. Largely we have changed that, but there still is a bit of skepticism. Now, Indian research paper can go, not a problem. But Nepali, anything work, especially with the lab-related genomics, question mark. And we're facing that even today. So therefore, we work with the academic institutions, UN bodies, donor support has been out. So the donor as I said, a lot of donors, global science, UN bodies, WHO, there are some donors in many ways. We work with them also. So I focus on infectious diseases, as I just said. And my job is to make the organization run, access funds and establish collaboration. And I'm a research scientist, as I said, it's a nicer way of saying I beg for money. No. I write emails and say, I want to do this, do you have money? Or do you want to collaborate with me? I was talking to a British researcher in England, he's done a lot of work on Malawi, Professor Nick Fizzi. I said, you're working in Africa, why don't you work with us? We need the fund, we need ideas. We have got people, we've got the lab, we've got ideas. Let's join hands. So that's sort of communication I do, and I try to get them their attention. Many challenges: funds, human resource, research environment, which is the environment still being developed. India is much better. I think there's a discussion part later on where I'll probably share my input. Major. India is far ahead of us. I'll tell you from a very outside point of view. If you think you've got it bad, I don't think I'll agree with you. From what I've seen with Indian research, the quality of research going on is going very good compared to the rest of South Asia, or even globally. If you think about it, Indian research is really moving on. And the Department of Biotechnology is doing a wonderful job. I've had the chance to learn about it in the past also. So it's one of the many players, I think. These are some of the collaborations we've established over the last 17 years. We're working each and every one of them. And there's more. And trust me, this didn't come about easy. This is emailing. Let's collaborate. You have a research idea, we have the lab. Or you have a research idea, we have the people. Just sanction some of your money towards this side. I'm almost there. Yeah, 3 minutes to go. 17 minutes so far, right? Yeah. My total time is 25 minutes? 20 minutes?
30 minutes.
Sorry, that's 10 minutes for question answer. That's fine. So we do behavioral studies, which doesn't require the lab. Environmental sampling, we do a lot of conservation work. I don't want to go into that. If I start going into that, I'll take 3 hours. Laboratory investigation, I have already mentioned to you. It's usually diseases, infectious diseases, what we really focus on. And as I mentioned, pathogen genomics, viral bacteria, usually. We have, these are some of the examples. I am not, just to prove that I'm not talking through my nose or something. We have actually done the work. We've done a lot of work. We did, this is a highlight. Predict is a USAID funded. We worked a lot with USAID, and you must have heard about USAID. USAID was one of our biggest supporters for very high-tech work, research work. So yeah, that we have to work around that. We are working around that. Predict is a zoonotic. 14 viruses of zoonotic origin that can cause pandemic. So USAID was funding 80 countries through University of California to find out whether those viruses exist in these countries. Nepal was one of them. We hosted Predict project in Nepal over 8 years. It's an 8-year, $800,000 project. So we did that. The last study we did was during COVID. We tried to understand how the migration between India and Nepal was fueling the COVID epidemic. When India had its borders closed, and our pandemic was very low. The minute India had to open the border, because a lot of our laborers go to India during the pandemic, when India opened its border, the migrant workers came back to Nepal, the pandemic just took off in Nepal, right after India. And we were trying to figure out what was happening, what kind of variants entered, which caused long COVID, which didn't. So a lot of public implication, adding the genomics factor, the viral factor. So that's what we did. We're about to publish a paper very soon on that. So what have we achieved in Nepal? I'm towards the end. We've become a leading research organization in Nepal, and Karishma found us, which is true. We've built a successful collaboration with multiple countries and their research academic institutions. We do a lot of collaborations. We believe in collaboration, and that's something we want. I want, and this because it's a major talk also. Something you want to remember is collaborations build science. Collaborations lead to greater science, even for a country like Nepal, where science is not well known. We sustain ourselves primarily with funds acquired through international collaboration, so that we have to collaborate, nationally or internationally. We have published numerous peer-reviewed articles. We've averaged about roughly $200,000 per year over the last 17, 18 years, which may not look like a lot, but it's all hard earned. A lot of application, success rate, you know how it is with funding sources. We think that's pretty good. Some having more, some having less, but on average, we're roughly getting $200,000 a year to do the kind of work we do. So train over 500 young students who are science enthusiasts, masters, some PhDs, a lot of undergrads with the colleges and universities in Nepal. They come and get trained with us also. Internationally also we do that. We get interns from international organizations in a very yearly manner. We're supporting the government in research and service. So we have really worked with government. Even the government doesn't give us money, we give them resource and evidence. So everything we bring, we make government part of it. So that, look, this is what our contribution is. show us yours. But they do support us. You know, for us, support is not creating obstacles, which they are not doing. So it's always good. And I've been able to get some awards. I want to show you can get awards if you work. I think we have put a lot of efforts for me to warrant a bit of a show off here. This Australia gave me 2 or 3 awards, including being on the cover of the university magazine, Wollongong, Western Sydney, Advance Awards, and all these different awards. Advance Awards only give to 6 individuals, whether Australian or international, for contributing with Australian education overseas. So I got that for 2021. I was one of the 6 people who did that. Yeah, so key takeaway as I end is, for those of you that are here, I might be a scientist from Nepal, but I think the approach is the same for anyone and anywhere in the world, including India, is you do have to be very clear. I wasn't very clear after 2004 or 2005 what I was doing. You know, I was 35, 36 when I started CMDN. 30, 31 I was academic at Catholic University. It's okay. It comes. As you move on to an area for, I would say, passion, something that you really want, it'll come to you. You don't have to have great insights into everything you're doing right now. It's okay. It'll come. I learned it that way anyways. It's important to have a good support group. Definitely. Support group could be family, friends, or acquaintances. It doesn't always have to be just family. You need a support group. Someone said it earlier, someone to talk to. You need someone to talk to. It's very important. At times of great distress, usually. And a good advisor mentor for sure. I'll never forget my greatest mentor. It was Professor Kaila Kalaspati. He's Sri Lankan by origin. He was in Australia. He got me my PhD. And he really showed me the way. I'll never forget it. And that's people like that you need. Someone who motivates you and mentors you in the right direction. You need that. And that has been my inspiration since PhD days. And destination may be very near. Please don't give up. I always remember there's a brick wall, and just behind the brick wall is the success. You know, people reach up to the brick wall and then give up. You know, they've already done the tunnel. Just a small brick wall, thin brick wall. So don't let that happen to you. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. So obstacles never end. Neither does my journey. This is the CMDN team as we speak right now. We also have very good balance. Young girls and guys. Average age is about 25, 26 in our organization. We try to retain young people from going overseas, which is a problem for Nepal. We're brain drain. We try to retain them. And this is me. I climbed Mira Peak at 52 years old. So I've completed 53. I'll be climbing another mountain in 6 months' time. This is 6,470 meters. That's 23,000 feet. So the one I'm going to climb next in October, November is also 6,000 meters. So we can do anything we want. We just have to go for it. And that's science, that's research, that's acquiring funds, you name it, can be done. And I thank YIM team, especially Karishma and the rest of the team for inviting me and giving me the chance to speak to this wonderful audience. And if there are questions, I'll take it. Thank you so much.